What is up, you guys, and welcome on back into the barracks. Today, as the title says, I have returned to World of Warcraft. This may come as a shocker to some people, as I have made it predominantly clear that I wasn't going to play World of Warcraft because I had Final Fantasy XIV. And while I still prefer Final Fantasy XIV over World of Warcraft, as of right now, it's not giving me something that I want, which is, I still want to do harder content, I don't really want to raid and savage. And with World of Warcraft, while the Mythic Plus system is still flawed, from the last time that I made my last World of Warcraft versus Final Fantasy XIV discussion, is Mythic Plus is now in Dragonflight perfect? No. But does it give me the satisfaction that I don't have currently with Final Fantasy XIV? Yes. So, I guess you could say me going back to from Final Fantasy XIV to World of Warcraft started when Dragonflight was released. I wasn't really keeping too much of an eye into it. I wasn't gonna buy it originally. And while I was still playing Final Fantasy XIV, I wasn't playing it as much. And I would log on here and there, do some rep grinding or professions or what may have you, and then that'd be it, and then I'd log off. And doing the extreme fights, I was a little bit behind. While I would have done the extreme fights and just grinded out every single fight until I could get the mount that I wanted for each extreme boss, while I did have that type of satisfaction, I would get very tiresomely bored of it. So, and maybe it could be due to the MMO, maybe I'm just not feeling MMOs anymore. That could also be a thing. But for the most part, I think I fell out of Final Fantasy XIV because there wasn't that scratch of getting gear and still progressing, but without doing the raid content that I just didn't want to do. So, my boyfriend decided he would buy me Dragonflight. I leveled a evoker to max, and I was having fun again. I went through the story in WoW for Dragonflight, and I didn't hate it. I was actually intrigued, and my curiosity was definitely piqued with the entire story, going from each zone. I liked the cinematics. I liked how it was in keeping you engaged in between the main quest lines. They actually do distinguish between main quest lines and side quests, which they might have done in Shadowlands too, and I just didn't know about it. But it was keeping you engaged. There was more like overworld voice acting, which I think they should have done to begin with. And the story wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't too in-depth, but I feel like they're going to explain more of the Dragonflight story as the expansion progresses, which is completely fine. I don't hate that. And I'm okay with it. I like the overall story, the Alexstrasza, rebuilding the aspects. I like the storyline between Sabalion, I think that's what his name is, and Rathian. I'm obviously Team Rathian. Sabalion, I don't know where the hell you were the whole time with the Black Dragonflight, or where you came from, but I trust Rathian, even though he is kind of a prick. I also like the story with the centaurs. It was different. It was kind of where I kind of fell off in paying attention, but it definitely picked back up when you went and defeated the element for that area, which was, I think, the wind element with Drathia. And then you went to the Azure Spine, or the Azure Plane Spine, whatever it's called. The place where you found the blue Dragonflight, and Kalados. So, that zone I was annoyed with because every time I would try and level, the game would severely lag in between because people were doing the Tuskar event, and I was like, why is this game lagging so much? And it was because of the Tuskar feast. And I was very confused, and I was very annoyed. Sometimes it would let up, but most of the time it was really, really bad. But the Tuskar, I love them so much. They're my favorite. I loved them back in Wrath of the Lich King when they were first introduced, and I love their new models. And the story with Kalados and even Syndragosa, which I did not expect her to be back, and like seeing her and like in her what she would have been in her aspect form, I loved it. The last zone was very short, and it was just hey, you made it to the main hub city. Congratulations. You're not max level yet. Go fix that, and then come back and talk to Alexstrasza. So it kind of just left off with the whole, alright, now we gotta go defeat Razadath in whatever raid it was. So, in the vault. So, I have cleared normal a few times, actually. I didn't intend to, but I have. And I've been doing Mythic Pluses since I've been back. And I've just been playing it very casually. I don't try to push extremely high keys. I do at least 15 or 16s on the almost weekly. And I have cleared a couple normal runs of Vault of the Incarnates a couple times. I am currently sitting on my Drakthir Preservation Drakthir at eye level 400. I have my 4 set. I have my cool staff from the raid too. And I have most BIS items, at least for trinkets and the weapon and the 4 set. And I don't play all that much, and I guess it's still scratching that itch when I want to play an MMO, and they changed a lot of things that I previously complained about. I really liked the changes to the World Quest system, completely rehauled it. Instead of it changing every single day with 15 World Quests per zone, it felt like, or 20 sometimes it felt like, there's just like 4 or 5, and they last from reset day on Tuesday to Friday, and then Friday they give you a new batch. And you can choose if you want to do them or not. And most of them is for Renown. And some of it's gear. Now, for me, none of the gear is relevant. I don't really need it. But it's great when I do level my alts and gear my alts. It's an option. The world quests aren't a chore that I need to log in every day to do. They last for like 5 days out of the week. And that's great. You have the weekly world bosses. Cool. They opened up LFR like the week after the raid tier came out, which was great. I think they should just release all 3 raid tier LFR wins just so people can have that chance at tier and be done, or an easier way to gear alts. But that's just my opinion. I hope maybe in season 2 when the next raid tier comes out that they do that. But who knows? Plus, Blizzard also put out a roadmap as well for the entire year, which was great. I mean, now we know things to expect, and they're actually delivering. Like, we had 10.5 that added the trading post. The trading post is pretty cool, like the free battle pass, whatever, but it was really easy to complete. Like, it only took me like 1 day of sitting down and going, alright, I done my mythics, I got that done, I did my 10 raid bosses for this month. I killed the dungeon bosses, a whole bunch of dungeon bosses. I even did some of the event stuff for the trade post just to get my mount. I already have my mount. I got the mount I wanted. I think the trading post is a really cool addition, and I'm excited to see where it goes, and how they keep adding content into it. I think it's really nice, and it's really not that hard to max it out to get the mount, for your reward tracker. It's really not that hard, so, I'm excited to see what they add to it, during future patches, or even just future months. And I'm also, while I do say the Mythic Plus system is still not perfect, the IO thing is still a problem, and I do think the affixes are a huge problem. Some weeks really do feel the worst, and this season in particular, this is probably the hardest season for healers, because almost every affix in almost every week has a huge heal check, and it's just, some weeks it feels like it would probably be better to be a single target healer than an AoE burst healer. And that's what Preservation Evokers are. And some weeks it feels impossible. Like, I am doing everything I possibly can to keep this group alive. So much, and they still die, and we still die, or I get hit by something just random that one-shots me. I think they still need to do something with the Mythic Plus system to make it a bit better. I was watching a video from, I think it was Bellular, where he said that the way to fix Mythic Plus affixes is maybe even to just take them away. Just take them away, because the dungeon is already hard enough with the mobs scaling up and up and up each time you go up one level in a key. Or maybe they should make the affixes more positive. Like, if you follow this mechanic, instead of punishing you so harshly, maybe it should reward you. Like, maybe it'll do something to better do damage to the mobs, or micromanage things so people feel more rewarded with the affixes. Maybe it could be a rewarding thing to play with the affixes to benefit you, instead of it always being harmful and punishing. I feel like that would be a huge better way to fix what seems to be a very bad problem with affix combinations, and how just ridiculously annoying they are. Like the new one they have with Thundering, if you wait to clear it, you have that damage and healing buff, and then when you clear it, if you clear it at the right time, you'll have like that extra seconds of damage and healing output increase. If they do it something like that, then maybe it'd be a bit more positive experience than saying, oh fuck, how badly am I getting fucked this week, which it does feel like that. Honestly, it really does. I do think that the one thing that Blizzard still needs to work on is definitely the Mythic Plus system. For sure, those affixes, either we work them all together or take them out, because balancing it with how many classes and specs there are, it does feel impossible some weeks to be a Preservation Evoker, or a Holy Priest, or a Disciplined Priest, or any other healers, because from a healer perspective at least, it feels sometimes just nigh impossible, no matter how hard I press my buttons, I use my cooldowns, or I use some sort of resource to fix this problem. But no matter how hard I try, something still one-shots people. The other thing that I will say that is a positive thing for World of Warcraft that has changed since the last couple expansions has been the renown, the reputation, and the borrowed power. So, I hated the rep grinds since BFA, and even since Legion. It felt like it took way too long just to get the amount of rep, and it still kind of does feel like that, but I'm not feeling forced to complete the renown to max. Like, yeah, there are benefits. There's crafting recipes, there's really cool transmod, there's stuff for your dragons. I do feel like that you do still need to do it, but I don't feel pressure to do it. Of course, there are quests. I still haven't done the Revival of Ysera quest line from Valdrakken Rep. I think I only have, like, Valdrakken at level 12. The rest of them are getting to level 10. Some of them already are level 10. I think I'm already level 10 with the centaurs. So, I'm not horrible, but I don't feel obligated that I need to push renown constantly every single day, because I'm not really missing out on too much. I still work on it, I still do it, but I don't feel like I'm needing to do it. And that's the main thing of why I'm liking this expansion more than I've had in the past 2 or even 3 WoW expansions. Borrowed power, there is no borrowed power. You just have your gear. And that's great. Keep it like that. No more borrowed power. I like how you're putting more emphasis on crafting gear. I think that's great. And another thing that segues into professions and gathering professions, it all, I love the specializations, the talent points that you can put into it, the gear. They're taking things from Final Fantasy XIV that works in Final Fantasy XIV, and they're modifying it for World of Warcraft to make it make sense in WoW. And I think that's great. I think the adding of crafting gear, I think the talent points is great. The specializations for each profession is great too. I think it's working. The work orders are definitely something new. I think there's some still things that need to tweak about it, but I've seen people make tons of money. It just depends on the profession class. I do enchanting on my Drakthir, and there's really no work orders, but it's mainly because you can buy most of the enchants off the auction house, so why would you get a work order for it? So, but I've heard jewel crafters make bank off of work orders. I hit the last thing that I could think of that I previously didn't enjoy in WoW, but they fixed it, is the flying. So, the big thing about Dragonflight was you have dragon riding. And I've always said that they need to fix this whole entire premise in WoW where they don't want people to fly immediately in the zones, and they have to work for flying. But now in Dragonflight, you have dragon riding as this expansion's, like, main feature, and it works great. This is what I've been talking about. Give us flying at the start of the expansion. Don't make people have to get all this renown or all this rep grind and to finish ABC storyline from that said rep grind just so I could fly in a zone. Just let me fly in the zone. And I think dragon riding is definitely the best of both worlds, and it's definitely even faster than your basic mounts. And you have 4 different traits from each flight that you can choose from and pick and customize, and it is awesome. You can even turn the red proto drake that you get into fucking Razagath if you get that customization drop from beating Razagath on LFR, normal, heroic, or even mythic. So overall, so far at least, this expansion has so many positives and has fixed so many of my main complaints that I am enjoying WoW again. And I still will go back to Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be towards the end of the expansion. I don't know if I'll get bored with WoW and want to go back to 14. I don't really know, to be honest. I like both games, and I will always love both games. Blizzard has taken a right step with WoW in the right direction, and I just hope it stays this way. Make it so it doesn't feel like it's a chore to log in. Player retention should not override people having fun. And I think that's what matters the most. It should never override people having fun. And right now, currently, I'm having fun in WoW again. I have enjoyed the story. I have enjoyed the Mythic Pluses, even with the problems that Mythic Pluses still have. I've enjoyed the professions in the Gathering, and I have enjoyed the new renown rep system, and I'm so glad I can fly in this damn expansion instead of having to wait halfway through the expansion for flying. I can be efficient, and I can fly, and I can scratch that competitiveness that I do have, but not feel like I'm required to log in every single day just so I don't miss out on progressing my character. And the best part as well is I can finally focus on other characters. So yeah, I am back in WoW. I think I'm gonna be back in WoW for quite a little bit. I might go back to 14 eventually. But right now, I'm enjoying being a casual MMO player and not worrying about raiding, not worrying about high-end stuff. Just logging in, playing when I want to, doing what I want to. In this entire footage you're seeing, I went on a transmod run in a Legion raid. Because I wanted some male transmod. That's what I wanted. I got some of it. I didn't get all of it. And I almost got lost in the process. But I had fun doing this little transmod run. And I can even do that and not feel like I'm wasting my time. So, in the end, I am back in WoW. I never thought I would be, for this expansion at least. But I'm glad I am. I'm glad Blizzard is listening to player feedback. I'm glad the developers are listening to player feedback. And I hope it stays true as the times go on for the next future expansions for World of Warcraft. And no more shitty storylines. I hope you guys enjoyed this little, very discombobulated discussion of why I came back to WoW. Final Fantasy XIV will always have a very special place in my heart, and I'll always go back to it. I don't think I ever won't go back to it. There is something that Final Fantasy XIV does give me that WoW doesn't give me, and it is the fact that my Warrior of Light is so precious to me, and that story is just so precious to me that I will go back for the story. The story will never be as good as Final Fantasy XIV in WoW. My character won't ever feel as special to me as my Warrior of Light. But she needs a break, and I'm playing my Drakthir. So, I'm now a dragon person. I feel pretty good about it. But, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And leave a comment if you're enjoying Dragonflight. Or if you're still enjoying 14. There's nothing wrong with that either. And check all the links in the description. Twitch for live streams. I do live stream WoW. And yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you again in the barracks very soon.